Jaime Lannister is one of the most popular television characters ever. He started as an evil man who was betting his own sister and pushing kids out of a window, and he ended up having one of the most fully thought out and well-paced redemption arcs that this country has ever seen. Or so we thought. Well, it turned out Jaime's redemption arc was destroyed by the Game of Thrones TV show writers because they didn't understand the character of Jaime, and instead of just completing a great character arc, they instead just surrendered to shock value. And not only did they destroy his character arc, they destroyed it with one sentence. That's all it took.
If not for yourself, if not for her, then for every one of the million people in that city, innocent or otherwise.
To be honest, I never really cared much for them. Innocent or otherwise.
But the craziest part is that David and Dan, the TV show writers, for years lost the point of Jaime's character. And it's not just Jaime, they also really didn't understand Daenerys, Tyrion, Jon Snow, and many others. But Jaime is the one they were really just on the complete other side of. But it wasn't always like this. In season 1 they understood him a lot, actually. Jaime is kinda broken. He's like one of those people in real life who are deeply hurt, and instead of seeking therapy, they instead become racist. So Jaime stops caring about things. Jaime essentially makes jokes about everything that make people hate him. He makes jokes about everything that makes him feel insecure. People call him Oathbreaker, so Jaime mocks other people's oaths. People call Jaime the man without honor, so he makes fun of people who care about traditional honor. So basically, he wears his insecurities like armor. It's kinda like what Tyrion said.
Let me give you some advice, bastard. Never forget what you are. The rest of the world will not. Wear it like armor, and it can never be used to hurt you.
And it's crazy to think that the same people who understood Jaime's character so well in the earlier seasons were the same people who destroyed his character arc in one episode and one line. Like, what happened? Did the writers just start taking acid in those later seasons? Is that the truth of it? They understood Jaime so well and how that he is so deeply hurt. It makes light of his insecurities and the things that hurt him. And they even wrote it in this scene here. A perfect scene, I would call it, with absolutely phenomenal dialogue.
Thank the gods you're here, Stark. About time we had some stern northern leadership.
Glad to see you're protecting the throne.
Steady old thing. How many king's asses have polished it, I wonder? And what's the line? The king shits and the hand wipes.
And this scene is so great because this shows that Jaime is looking for Ned's approval in a way. Jaime is haunted by Ned, who walked into the throne room when Jaime became the Kingslayer, and Ned looked at him with absolutely nothing but cold judgment. Like when a 7-year-old looks at a handicapped person on the street. Nothing but judgment. And this scene shows that. And it shows how well the writers truly understood Jaime.
And later, when I watched the Mad King die, I remembered him laughing as your father burned. It felt like justice.
Is that what you tell yourself at night? You're a servant of justice. That you were avenging my father when you shoved your sword in Aerys Targaryen's back.
Tell me, if I stabbed the Mad King in the belly instead of the back, would you admire me more?
But the first glance at where the TV show writers made a giant mistake with Jaime's character was with this scene here. The scene is a lot different in the show, but in this scene, an out of prime Ned Stark holds us against a pretty well seasoned Jaime Lannister. And the reason why this scene is bad is because it's like Eminem having a hard time beating Lil Nas X in a rap battle. Jaime should have wiped down Ned Stark. Jaime is easily a top 3 swordsman of all time. This dude is like the Kobe Bryant of sword dueling, but with even crazier allegations on him. And even the author George R. R. Martin said that Aragorn from Lord of the Rings would get his ass handed to him by a prime Jaime Lannister in appropriate circumstances.
Real quick, who would you think would win, Aragorn or Jaime? Just really.
Aragorn or Jaime? Well, where are they fighting? And does Jaime have both of his hands?
I'd say they're both at the top of their condition. It's just them both, and they're having a sword battle.
I think Jaime would probably take Aragorn, especially if he was allowed to be armored.
So needless to say, Jaime's cock is huge, and the writers didn't respect it. But overall, it still felt like the writers understood Jaime. And in season 2, they showed that they understood him a lot more than people thought. There were a few scenes this season that kinda made Jaime seem more evil than he actually is, but it made sense. Jaime is still the bad guy. And in the books, he isn't even in that many chapters. He doesn't even become a main character in the books until book 3, which is the start of season 3. So the writers were just kinda raw dogging Jaime in season 2, and it was pretty good. And the scenes that were in the books made it onto screen, and it made people question if Jaime's perspective is truly corrupt. Because at this point, the honorable Ned Stark cheated on his wife Catelyn with some baddie during the rebellion, and outpopped Jon Snow. So if Ned Stark can cheat and still be seen as honorable, then why can't people even question why Jaime did what he did to the Mad King? And the writers understood this again. The writers really understood his character arc perfectly. And when he gets paired up Brienne, he learns a lot because they are outsiders. They make a perfect duo with both of their arcs, in the books and in the show.
He almost just gives up and dies, but he's urged to live by Brienne. Brienne and Jaime have a complex relationship. At first, they hate each other. Jaime calls Brienne wench and thinks she's a stupid, ugly freak. Brienne calls Jaime Kingslayer and thinks he's a monster for his crimes. But Jaime and Brienne have some things in common. They're both outsiders in society. Jaime is the Kingslayer and Brienne is a misfit female warrior. Eventually, they start to respect each other, not as Kingslayer and wench, but as Jaime and Brienne. They learn from each other. Jaime shows Brienne that doing the right thing can be more complicated than she thought, and Brienne shows Jaime that even in a cruel, complex world, a true knight persists. Even when she fails, even when no one believes in her, Brienne keeps her word and defends the weak and does what's right, and so should Jaime.
And here's where the crazy part happens, and the reason why everyone hated this line in Season 8. Season 3 of Game of Thrones is fantastic. You got the Red Wedding, Daenerys' work with the Unsullied, Jon Snow turning to a communist at the Wall, and Tyrion threatening to neuter his nephew. Season 3 was fantastic, but arguably the best scene in Season 3 after the Red Wedding was the infamous Jaime's confession monologue. The truth finally comes out, and this scene goes against everything from the scene from Season 8. Season 8 Jaime is like, yeah, I never really cared about innocent lives. I killed the king because he made a "your mom so fat" joke against me and I got pissed off, so I had to go to work. And that's it. But in Season 3, we find out the real reason why Jaime ended the life of the Mad King Aerys, and why Ned Stark always haunted him.
Once again, I came to the king, begging him to surrender. He told me to bring him my father's head. Then he turned to his pyromancer. Burn them all, he said. Burn them in their homes, burn them in their beds. Tell me if your precious Renly commanded you to kill your own father and stand by while thousands of men, women, and children burned alive, would you have done it? Would you have kept your oath then?
A lot of people think this was the end of Jaime's redemption arc, but it's actually the start of Jaime's redemption arc. He now knows all the lessons he learned from Brienne, and now he can live his life on the outside of this persona of the Kingslayer. And because Jaime lost his hand, it's even more of a damn, I actually gotta change my life now. Jaime losing his hand is like us losing the most valuable part of ourselves that make us. Jaime losing his hand is like Taylor Swift losing her voice, or Drake losing his penis. We gotta find a new way in life, and after this Jaime saves Brienne. But around the time Jaime is saving Brienne, he would have a main piece of dialogue that would completely go against everything that Jaime said in Season 8.
How many men have you killed, my lord?
I don't know.
50? 100? Countless.
Countless has a nice ring to it.
And how many lives have you saved?
500,000. The population of King's Landing.
Yup, now compare that to Season 8.
If not for yourself, if not for her, then for every one of the million people in that city, innocent or otherwise.
To be honest, I never really cared much for them. Innocent or otherwise.
Season 4 is also where the writers started messing around with Jaime that I didn't like. Jaime still had 3 books of material left for the show, and the writers essentially told George R. R. Martin, the author of the books, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. And in Season 4, which I have to say overall Season 4, Jaime is still really good. I really love him in Season 4. Even though he is really different from the books. In the books he only meets Tyrion at the very end. But regardless, I'm not here to say I hate Season 4 Jaime because I really love him. But one thing that I absolutely hate about Season 4 Jaime is this scene right here. The scene of Jaime raping his sister in front of their dead kid. I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth, by the way. But that's what happened. And a lot of people said that that was a very controversial scene, and even George himself said he kinda didn't like it.
There was one particular scene which caused a degree of controversy, a rape scene, which some had suggested, some had accused the series makers, the Game of Thrones series makers, of normalising rape. Does it concern you when you see your source material receiving that kind of reception?
Well, I mean, no one likes to be criticized. I know the particular controversy you're referring to, which is a scene that played out somewhat differently on screen than it does in the books. Obviously, as the author of the books, I liked the way I did it. If they had included, I think, some of the way that scene played out in the books, it might not have been quite so controversial. Hopefully, it still would have been somewhat controversial. I mean, it was never meant to be a feel-good scene, even though I think it's a consensual scene in the books, but it's still a disturbing scene.
Season 5 to Season 7, Jaime is just like how every character in Game of Thrones Season 5 to Season 7. Like, there's some good, there's some bad, but overall nothing that had to do with the actual canon. But Jaime is one of the few characters that actually felt very natural all the way to Season 7. The Season 5 plot was kinda weird with the whole Dorners thing, but at least he got to make his peace with Marcella. But Season 8 Episode 1, Jaime is still the good guy. Episode 2, good guy. Episode 3, good guy. Episode 4, he leaves Brienne, but it could just be a random, emotional, meaningless moment, you know? Maybe Jaime was just traumatized by the pegging he just got from Brienne. I know I would be. But Episode 5, he drops everything. He drops his entire character arc with one sentence. And this motherfucker dies with Cersei not much later. Which that sucks even more because Cersei's death has already been foreshadowed. Foreshadowed that she's gonna die by her little brother. And technically Jaime is a few minutes younger than her. So it made so much sense not only for Jaime to kill Cersei for his redemption arc, but he would also complete Cersei's prophecy by her dying by her little brother. It made so much sense, especially because we started Jaime's story as the Kingslayer, and now he ends his story as the Queenslayer. Every piece of the puzzle was right there, and it was beautiful, and it made much more sense to a deeper level that we probably will never even know. The YouTuber also just probably made the best commentary, and that was before Season 8 of Game of Thrones.
He joined the Kingsguard for her, fathered bastards with her, tried to kill kids for her. Cersei brings out the worst in Jaime, all his vanity, violence, cruelty. If Jaime's to be a better person, he needs to face his twin. And the thing is, Cersei is obsessed with a prophecy that says she'll be killed by her brother. She thinks this means Tyrion, but fans suspect that it means Jaime. Remember, in the show, Cersei blows up the Great Sept with wildfire. There are hints she'll use wildfire in the books as well, but she won't just blow up the Great Sept. Fans believe that Cersei may try to burn the whole city of King's Landing, just like Aerys tried to do years ago. Jaime may have to save the city again by killing his sister. That would fulfill the Valancourt prophecy, and it could represent Jaime finally defeating his darker half. It could also mean Jaime's death.
I get what they were going for, the whole we were born together, we will die together thing. And maybe Jaime at the start of his story as the Kingslayer and he ended his story as like the Queen Savior, I think. He tried protecting her but they died. His protection skills in Season 8 are worse than like those Magnum condoms I used to use. And he dies with Cersei, and that was it. And it felt so unsatisfying. Even the actor himself for many seasons tried to tell the show writers to make Jaime's story make sense and book accurate. But they just didn't listen.
And I got into all these arguments and fights with the writers, and they're like, yeah, we hear you. Yeah, but please, you have to blah, 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 blah. And they go, yeah, we hear you, and we respect you, but we don't care. Okay? We don't. Fuck. You're an actor, just say the words. They didn't say it like that, but that was kind of
that was the
gist of it. I've gone through these song and dance routines every season since Season 4, where I come back and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I don't know how to do this. How do you do this? And they go, yeah, we hear you. Just try it.
So it's sad to see that this perfect character in the books, and one of the most popular characters in television, that truly had potential to have the best redemption arc of all time, it was essentially all ruined in a few episodes. And most of the damage came from one sentence. Like I said in my Tyrion video, I have a giant Tyrion video coming out probably this year. And yeah, same thing for Jaime. I'll most likely do a lot more like deeper and like analytical video with Jaime. That's gonna come up very soon. I just need to buy a new phone that has like more than 64 gigabytes. But yeah. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed watching Jaime's character fall. And yeah, like, subscribe, and peace.